important for you, okay? So maybe you can take a look when you do the revision later on. So first of all, of course, we explain about the ethics and corporate social responsibility. Oh, what does it mean by ethics? If you still remember, okay, so in that chapter, so we talk about the ethical behavior, we talk about the ethics in the workplace, and of course we are also trying to talk about maintain the high ethical standard and even the social responsibility, okay, in the whole things. So therefore, let me open. Okay, so in these chapters, of course, we talk lots of things about the ethics and corporate social responsibility. So therefore, when you try to understand that, of course, there are so many concepts there. So I hope you still remember what are the ethics, okay, and what is the difference between the ethics and also the law, okay, and law. So basically, if you don't understand, basically you can consider that, okay, the law, the legal aspect, regulations, they are talking about the minimum requirements for the ethics, okay? That is the minimum level that you need to reach. So if you want to practice, or we say that it's talking about the ethical behavior, we have to do more than that, okay? So that is we call ethical behavior. But when we explain not just about the ethical behavior, ethics is important, and later on we also explain one thing is that is about the later on, when we bridge to the corporate social responsibility, maybe for example like this. So basically, we spend some time, okay, on studying the sustainability, right? We studying, okay, we actually spend some time on studying this. Hope you still remember what is the sustainability and why it is so important, okay? Why we need to include this for you. So what is the sustainability and what is the corporate sustainability? I'm not quite sure whether you still remember, but if you actually pay attention to the presentation, you will know. So the corporate sustainability is the things that are actually more than the sustainability, because we need to consider about the corporate, that aspect. When we actually have the corporate concept, that means we need to understand, okay? We need to understand, have the triple bottom line theory to explain them, profit, planet, people, etc. So these are the key things to explain the corporate sustainability. Hope you still remember this, okay? And surely, why so many companies are now emphasizing the corporate sustainability? Because of the ESG, okay? ESG. So you can also find ESG concept, I think, in the previous slide, I think in the introduction or the history, right? Here. So I also explained one time, okay, once, about the ESG. This one. Oh. You can see, I also put it under the ethics, okay? So because of the ESG, okay? So ESG, of course, for you at this moment, if you still think that it's the buzzword or even it's the gimmick, that means it's the time for you to review the lecture that we had before, okay? So the ESG, okay, is no longer the buzzword. Compared to the CSR, maybe you believe that, okay, they are just a buzzword, okay, a gimmick, okay? So sometimes the company will make use of that to create the image. But now, they are not, right? So why? Because the Hong Kong ESG, okay, they also talk about this, okay? They will try to make the disclosure requirements for us. for the company, for the listed company. We need to follow it, okay, Hong Kong ESG disclosure requirements. They publish these requirements to all the listed company, and then the listed company, they need to what? They need to follow it, okay? When you follow it, what does it mean? You need to do it, okay? So you need to achieve the KPI set up by the Hong Kong EX, or even, okay, we have the SASB standard, okay, to guide the ESG development. So therefore, hope you still remember what is the ESG, environment, social, governance, these three aspects, okay, these three aspects. We need to achieve this in a company. And then you will know, okay, that's the core idea that you need to understand. And when you try to understand this ESG concept, surely, for the listed company, okay, what I say is so important. Apart from this, okay, apart from the Hong Kong EX requirements, during the class, I also say one point that is really important for the ESG. If the Hong Kong EX, okay, stock market, okay, actually have a strict compliance standard about the ESG for the listed company. If you are working for the listed company, of course, you cannot just work the whole project by yourself. You need to do what? You, of course, based on the previous practice, you need to work with your supplier, work with your vendor, work with your partners to finish it. And because of the ESG, that is also one of the chance or even one of the scenarios that it will lead to that scenario that the listed company will only cooperate with the companies with good ESG track record. If you actually don't do this, okay, maybe in one day you will be isolated. Don't always say that, okay, I can save the cost for you, and I can save money, I can do a better job, okay? If you cannot prove yourself actually doing good in the side, in the aspect of the ESG, maybe you will be isolated. So what does it mean? So that means when we understand or implement the ESG, we need to understand about the stakeholder, okay? We need to understand what kinds of the stakeholder that we have. And then we will try to say, okay, for that, maybe in that company, I will have to know, okay, who are the stakeholders in my company. Like for you in future, when you work in a company, as I mentioned in the class, you need to understand the business model of your company. Otherwise, you don't know, okay, whether your position is a truly permanent position. Okay, permanent is just a gimmick. Sometimes they give you the permanent position, but the company can go bankrupt. Okay, they can close. It doesn't mean that they will be forever. Okay, they can run the business forever. So therefore, we need to understand, okay, the stakeholder, okay, not just for your life, for the company, they also have a stakeholder. How they can do it. And then if we need to do the ESG, okay, surely it's not that easy, right? If you still remember, so we have different kinds of strategies if we do it. So like I think this is also one of the, not quite remember, okay, that is also one of the page that we saw, right? So we have different kinds of the strategies that we have: proactive, accommodative, defensive, or obstructionist strategies. So we are actually having these 4 strategies to guide you to implement the change of the corporate sustainability or even ESG. Still remember why we need to do it? Because if you actually just want to do the proactive strategies, you need to understand whether your supplier can collaborate or cooperative, okay? Or even, do you really have the bargaining power in the supply chain? So therefore, when you try to implement the ESG, to push something, to let your supplier, let your customer to follow, ask yourself one question: do you really have the bargaining power in the supply chain? Are you the focal company? We have a concept called focal company. Are you the focal company in the supply chain? If no, you are just only the partner to partner with them, okay? Then you cannot just use the proactive strategies, okay? Because your suppliers or other focal companies, okay, they won't show you, okay? They won't, okay, agree with that or even follow your approach. They will have their own approach. So therefore, you need to select your approach, your strategies to handle the situation. So you can go back to read about the case, and you can see, okay, So basically, in this case, we will select, I think it's the accommodative strategies. Okay, so you can take a look about this case and then to know more. And then surely, okay, in this ethics, we also explain a really good concept for you. We pick a really interesting, I should show this page, okay, ESG, okay, we also put this here. So, and we also make use of the case of the AI Studio. So not sure whether you still remember this, okay? AI Studio, okay, that kind of a so-called news. I think you can call it a scandal, right? Scandal. So that is a concept called, because when we want to uphold the high level of ethical standard, or even we want to uphold the high level of the ESG standard, so the company, they should have a really strong policy or backup for the concept. We call it whistleblowing, okay, whistleblowing policy. So like this Swire properties, right? So they have a whistleblowing policy here to talk about what, okay, they can protect the whistleblower. So the whistleblower, of course, they will try to, okay, preserve the ethical standard or even, okay, the social standard or even the standard that we developed and then protect against the wasteful, harmful, or even illegal acts. So therefore, okay, so the whistleblower is also an idea. And how important is it? Okay, and how can we implement this? So that is also a situation. Maybe hopefully you can also understand that, okay, in your own life, All right. So then okay, so apart from the ethics and also the corporate social responsibility, I think we also talk about 4 key management functions in the class. Planning, organizing, control, and leading. Maybe you will forget everything, but at least try to remember these 4 terms, okay? So these are trying to explain the whole management, okay? Whole management that we need to do, okay? Planning, organizing, leading, and control. So for the planning, that is the really first things that we need to do what? To set the direction, okay? Right? To set the direction. And then to decide where you want to go and decide how to best go about it. So we explain a lot of it about this, okay? Because we need to set the direction to drive the change or even drive the operation for the company. So therefore, for this case, so basically we have several ideas like the VMOSA, mission, objective, strategy, and action plan. So basically, we have to convey, okay, or convey the message from vision to the action plan, okay? This is the process. This is the process for us. So basically, we will follow this to make the vision to be more concrete and it can be actionable, okay, in the plan. So that is one of the things that when we do the planning, we are not just planning direction. We also need to plan about the whole things from the mission. How can we convert it into mission to the missions? And for the missions, how can we convert to the objectives? Okay, what kinds of the strategies that we have at the end? What kinds of the action plans that we can make? So therefore, based on this one, we explain a lot of things, different techniques like forecasting, okay, and contingency planning, scenario planning, right? So I think in the student presentation, they also did a really good job to explain this, some of the groups. So we will actually having this contingency planning idea in your mindset because of what? Because we must see the uncertainty. We won't see the deterministic role, okay? We must see the uncertainty in the role. So therefore, for the contingency planning, okay, it's kinds of the things that we always actually have the plan B. We always have the plan B, and we can build up the stance to foresee, okay, the future. So based on the core planning question, you will try to foresee the uncertainty in your future and set up different kinds of the scenario. So that is common. And then, of course, you will pick or even, okay, you will exercise the scenario that you believe that it will be actually having the, there is a high likelihood or the probability that you will see that in future. So, but it's not something that you don't need to prepare others. So that is we call scenario planning. We always, okay, think of different scenario in the planning here. And surely, okay, and also the benchmarking, okay, really important. So especially to bridge to the vision, mission, objective, strategies, action plan, we talk about this again, okay? That is sometimes when we want to move the objective or even the mission from the top management to the bottom level, okay? Bottom management. So, or even the working level, low management level. So, we actually need to understand, okay, how can we do this conversion? So, like this case again. So, we will try to, like the mission is to serve the world as the #1 supplier of the recyclable food containers. So, what does it mean? So, this is the mission. Okay, you can feel, oh, it's quite abstract. Okay, it's sport. Okay, it's conceptual. What is the #1? Okay, what does it mean by #1 supplier? So, how can we define the #1? So, for the management, top management objective, they need to determine what is the #1. Oh, we can determine that #1 is explained by the area 3, and also we can fulfill the customer requirements 100% of the time. So that is about the so-called the explanation of the #1. So that is about it will turn it, or we say we can translate from the mission to the top management objective to make it one step further concrete, solid to us. Area 3, customer requirements 100% meeting them, and then it can also turn it later on because it's not that so-called okay, comprehensively actionable. Maybe area 3 we can feel it, but what does it mean by customer requirements 100% of the time? What is the customer requirements? So therefore, in the manufacturing division, as the senior management, they will further translate this. Okay, the customer requirements that they want to receive the product on time. Okay, they want to have sufficient stock, sufficient maybe the products in the store, then they can buy it. So therefore, in order to provide sufficient inventory, sufficient material in the store, and also we can deliver the products on time, we need 100% on-time production. Okay, in the manufacturing division. So it's a further step to try to translate the meeting customer requirements 100% on time to the 100% on-time production, of course, of the area 3 products. So therefore, it will be manufacturing division. But when we turn it to the plant division, when we're talking about 100% on-time production, it's clear, really clear right now. That means we need to strictly follow the schedule. But how about the area 3 products? For the plants, okay, what does it mean by area 3 products? So maybe you need to understand about the current acceptance rate, or even the current yield rate in your manufacturing plant. Then you need to know how many or how much that you need to increase for the product acceptance, or even the product yield rate. And then you will know, okay, maybe in this case, we try to figure, okay, imagine it, okay, we need to improve it by 16%. Then later on, down it to the final shift supervisor, that is the bottom management, okay? So they can try to assess whether the operator, whether they have the skills and they are well trained or not for this area 3 production. So that is the so-called the translation, step by step, layer by layer, one by one, okay? From the top management to the bottom management. And to design these kinds of the objectives, of course, it's not that simple. We will actually have a concept called MBO, Management by Objectives. So the management by objectives actually is a concept that, okay, we will see this, okay, in the, we will understand that the objectives that we formulated, we are actually not just formulated by the specific staff, okay, or colleagues, or the specific management level. Most likely, we are actually from the team. And then the team, actually we have a team leader and team member. And team leader and team member, they will formulate they will plan the objective and standard together. Okay? So like this case, okay, as I mentioned in the lecture, they will work together to formulate the objectives. Okay? Formulate the objectives, the standard, and select what kinds of the action that they need to do. And then of course, the team member will take action, but the team leader, they will provide the support. So surely at the end, they will review, okay, about the results, and then to see any kinds of the insight from this cycle. So based on the MBO, management by objective, that is also a good approach for that. For what? For them to synchronize, okay? For them to be on the same page about the objectives that they are going to formulate, okay? They're going to formulate. So when they formulate the objectives, both of them, the team leader and team members, okay, they will also agree with that. They will also agree with that. So they won't say that, okay, I just listen to your instruction, okay? Both of them, okay, they will agree with the objectives and also the action that they select. So that is we call, okay, the management by objective MBO, and MBO sometimes it will be insert to the planning, okay, whole structure. From the defined planning objective, okay, determines, okay, the things stands, the objectives, and then we will try to develop some premises or the action alternatives, and also we will implement the plans and evaluate the results. So these are the basic idea for the MBO, okay, for the MBO. So that is also a really important concept for you, okay, to understand, okay, in maybe later, and if you need to lead your own team, okay, if you need to lead your own team. Okay, right? So sure, okay, apart from the planning, we also talk about one huge topic. It's about the change. It's about the change. So what does it mean by change? So there are so many things that we need to change, right? So first of all, we talk about the culture. We talk about the culture. So the culture is the things that you can feel it, okay, when you work in a company, and then you will believe that you can try to see whether that is also maybe affect your understanding about the, or even whether you will feel comfortable and you want to be devoted or committed to working inside the company. So in the lecture, we explain different types of the culture, and we also explain the kinds of the things we call toxic culture, right? So what does it mean by toxic workplace? Okay, I think you can also feel it. Okay, if you actually have some experience right now, you will know that some of the organization, the culture is a bit toxic. So you will know if you answer this, and then you will know whether you should stay for that organization for the long run. So therefore, okay, but the culture actually is not the tangible things. Surely, it won't be the written document that you can read it and then you can believe that the culture that, of course, you need to feel it. You need to experience it. Surely, okay, basically you can feel the culture through some vision statement, mission statement, or even some sharing, like Steve Jobs here that I played a video for you, and you can also feel a little bit on it. So surely, okay, and then second things in this lecture that we explain is about the multicultural organization, because in future we cannot avoid that. Okay, we cannot avoid that, especially in Hong Kong. An international city, okay? Why we need to embrace these kinds of the multicultural organization? If you still remember the lecture, we talked about this concept, right? So if we actually don't have the multicultural organization, so the situation will be like this, okay? So maybe I am that guy. I only, okay, work with the team, okay, only having the same under the same culture, okay, same background, same skills. So like this kinds of guys, okay, when he try to draw the pictures, it will also including their nose, okay, the nose will be also draw in the pictures in the drawing. So therefore, of course, maybe you think that it's a joke, because in the real world it should not be like this, okay? It will be act a better scene, okay, without this. But actually, if you only work with a team with only one single culture, so that is some bright area, bright point, okay, that we cannot avoid. So that's why, especially if you actually your business or your company need to expand the global business. So basically, you will see the multicultural organization because of this phenomenon. So that is interesting things. So that's why, okay, in some company right now, okay, they embrace the what DEI, the diversity, equity, inclusions, okay. So DEI is also one thing that they want to do this, okay, include this in their company, okay. So that's why in the society we have more and more schemes like what women in STEM, okay, women in engineering, okay, because we want to make a correct image or even a message to the whole society that, okay, even some minority groups, they can also perform really well in some aspects. So therefore, we need to provide the diversities, okay, equity, and also the inclusion in the workplace, in the organization. So otherwise, we will see all these problems like glass ceiling, leaking pilot problem, harassment, okay, etc., discrimination. So we want to avoid this, okay, because if we see that it is not the case that we want. So when we see like the glass ceiling, okay, that is we don't want to see this. If we see this, okay, maybe because you are maybe some of you are not some of you, most of you actually are the local students right now, right? So therefore, of course, you are the majority group in Hong Kong, so you won't see the glass ceiling. But just in case, if you need to move to, okay, or your company sends you, okay, to Singapore, okay, to UK, Australia, or to other country, maybe, or you also have a plan to do the immigration to other overseas countries. So, so you don't want to see the glass ceiling again, okay, this phenomenon, because it doesn't mean that how hard that you work. Glass ceiling is that no matter how hard you work, if you actually not in the dominant group, okay, so you don't have chance to be promoted. So that is about the ceiling. Maybe you can, they will write down the policy that you can be promoted, or if you achieve the KPI, you can be promoted, or you can be get the bonus. But the glass ceiling is that you can see the path, but you can never reach it. Okay, you can never reach it. So that is about the situation, the challenge in the organization, in our society. And then we believe that this is not healthy at all. This is not healthy at all. So therefore, we need to try to break this situation or this social issue. And then in the culture, I think I also talk about one interesting thing is about that when we explain the culture, so that is the things that are not just talking about the company culture. For the personal culture, we also having the scenario that the culture actually we will understand. Okay, we will build up based on our things. Let's see. Okay, do we actually have this? Never mind. Maybe I try to explain it. So what does it mean by culture? Okay, if you're really talking about the company culture or the organizational culture, basically it could be the culture, okay, of the organization. Okay, maybe they are known. Okay, they try to work hard to embrace something like Stingray and Sun, right? So they have a culture to make on to emphasize on the craftsmanship. But on the other hand, the culture can also be explained by the personal background. Okay. So the personal background, they will also have the culture to bring it to the organization. So there are two different things, okay? You need to understand, okay, two different types of the culture, okay, in your future, Then you will know, okay, maybe for some of the culture from the personal background, we will also know, okay, when we try to later on, you will immigrate to other countries. So of course, you will actually bring your own culture to other countries. So don't be the one to pollute other countries, okay? So because we have terms officially, okay, formally, we call it, I didn't explain it in the lecture, we call it as the social pollution. So it doesn't mean that the air pollution, light pollution. So social pollution, that means, okay, you will try to change the dominant culture for the specific regions. Like Hong Kong, okay, or even like UK, maybe later on I will immigrate to UK, so we have to adapt to their culture and understand the law, okay, like the group development process, rather than to try to complain or even say, okay, or even change it, okay, to ask something to strictly follow my own culture, okay. So that is the two different things. So otherwise, okay, surely why do we need to understand the culture? Because we want to make some change in the company. It's really okay, frequently, right? You can see that. So when we make a change, basically, we have the change leader, and also we have the status quo manager, right? There are two different types. So the change leader, they are trying to make the change by using, okay, their characteristics, like they are confident of ability, willing to take risk, they want to do it, okay? So no matter change leader or status quo manager, they will also at the end drive to the creativity and innovation. That means they will do the things eventually. But the change leader, they will take the lead, okay? They will take the lead to change. And then for the status quo manager, they will just wait the change, or even wait until all the resources are mature, and then they will execute the change. So these are two different styles. Okay, one style is that I want to try and error. Okay, to try to see, okay, whether this is good for them. Okay, maybe it's risky or not. For the status quo manager, they are talking about the other things like the I just want to predict. Okay, I want to have a really stable prediction, and even all the things are ready for me, and then I will execute it. So that is about so sometimes for the change leader, it can promote and actively support this. And then for the change status quo leaders, status quo manager, they try to do something like to encourage this. Okay, they will do the change, but they will discourage the innovation. They will discourage or even avoid the innovation at the end. So these are two types. It doesn't mean that status quo manager they won't change. They will change, but they need to wait. Okay, and then they won't have so many creativities, and they don't have so many different kinds of innovations to do the change in the company. And in the company, surely we have two types: top down, bottom up. Really simple, right? Okay, so that means we need to see about the source of the origin for the who drives the change. And then when we try to change it, we also have different models to explain this, like unfreezing, change, refreezing, and then we also, like the presentation, we also incorporate the concept for the incremental change and transformational change. So we will know, okay, we will change step by step, or even we suddenly change one thing. Okay, so that is also the change that we can see in this course. And let me jump to the final things. They are also important that talking about different strategies or due to change. Okay, not incremental, transformational. We also have the improvisational. Okay, improvisational change. Okay, so we also have the change that things. Okay, we have different strategies to do. But when we talk about the change, in that lecture is what really interesting that I play this video to you. Okay, then you can feel about when you actually execute the change, it's not that easy, right? It's not that easy. So when you execute the change, when you go back to this video, then you can feel, it's a funny story. Okay, even when they change the uniform in this video, they will reject it. Okay, they don't want to do it. Okay, because the people, as a human, we have the resistance to change. Really common. Even like you. Don't think that, okay, all of you are really open-minded, okay, to accept any changes. No. We won't see this, okay? Even like the class, okay? Like, let me go this class, okay? When I do the group project, really simple example. When in the week 1 or week 2, I say that, to do the group project, I want you, okay, 5 students in the groups, okay? So, and then after I announce this so-called rules, what feedback that I received? Sir, I actually work with my friends, but we have 6 students together. Can I form a group by 6 students? So I just work with this another 3 students to me, only 4 students. Can I only form the groups? You avoid to follow the change. Okay, I ask you 5 students, but only not all the groups. Okay. So only more than half, I will say. Some parts of the group, more than half, they will just follow the rules. And some of you will still don't want to change, okay? If you want to cut one member, you need to be talking about which one I need to cut, so many things, negotiation, communication I need to do. I don't want to do this. So I don't want to change, okay? I just want to keep the group that I formed originally. So we always have that, okay? So that is a common situation, common phenomenon that we have, common phenomenon. So therefore, maybe later on, when you grow up, maybe if you are the 40 years old or 50 years old, and then that kind of the mindset will be much more stronger because you already have some success cases on your hand. That means what? So you know how to do something, and then based on something, follow the procedure, the rules, okay, and then you can get the success. And then if someone asks you to change, you will resist, you will reject it, okay? But we need to change it. I do it for my last 10 years. I follow my approach, same approach to do this. So why do I need to change my approach to do that, to achieve the same success, but with just a limited, okay, improvement? So that is about also the resistance to change. We will see that, okay? Don't think that, okay, all of you sitting here, I must be really open-minded. Any change that I can consider, I can accept. No. So there are so many reasons, okay? Don't fear of the unknown, okay? Disruptive habits, okay? Loss of confidence, loss of control, poor timing, etc. Blah, 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 blah. So of course, we actually have several methods to handle this, okay? So dealing with the resistance to change, we also explain, okay, the benefits, compatibility, simplicity, or even the triability. So we have several things to avoid this. So that is also important, okay? Maybe for your own life. Okay, when you want to change something, and then you find someone, they actually have the resistance to change. Okay, you don't need to argue with him or her. Okay, maybe you can check about, have you explained the benefits to him or her? Okay, is your new approach really compatible? Okay, to the existing process? Is your new approach really simple? Okay, can you run some trial? Okay, do some trial run, okay, pilot test before you make the change. So you can ask yourself about these 4 questions before you want to make the change. Okay, so that's all. That is about the basic ideas for the change, and then I hope it will be helpful for you in your life in future. So in the presentation, this is also a topic that I think is the most interesting topic, okay? Motivation theory and practice. So we talk about lots of motivation here, okay? So what does it mean by motivation? So in the motivation, there are so many models, okay, that you learned, right? Maslow theory, okay? Of course, the Maslow theory, that it explains the physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging, esteem and self-actualization. And then the scholar actually modify it a little bit, such that, okay, because the needs can influence the behavior at a time, so therefore they will try to make use of that to explain, to turn it to the ERG theory, existence, relatedness, and also the growth. So based on these 3, okay, they can also further simplify the model to make it, okay, because sometimes it's really hard to distinguish these 2 layers. So therefore, it will also these needs will also lead to the change of the behavior together. So therefore, the ERG theory, they try to modify the theory a bit. And then we also have the Hinsberg 2-factor theory. That means that if you work in a company, basically, in order to enhance your job satisfaction, we have 2 sides. One is the motivator factors, another is the hygiene factors. So for the motivator factors is that if you improve them, it can enhance your satisfaction. For the hygiene factors, if you improve that, it cannot enhance the job satisfaction. It can only decrease the job dissatisfaction. So these are two direction, okay? So just take a sample, like for the motivator factors, it can be the bonus, right? If you do more, you get more bonus. It can motivate you, okay, to work hard. But for the hygiene factor, you can consider they are just like the working condition, okay? The environment. Maybe in the past it's 30 degrees Celsius, and then it's changed to the 25.5 degrees Celsius. Maybe you will, when you work in that workplace, you will feel more comfortable. But it doesn't mean that it will enhance your satisfaction about the job. It will only decrease your dissatisfaction level. So that's it about this theory. And also, we also have the acquired this theory that is most likely for the people, we need the achievement, affiliation, and power. These are the main three things that we need, okay, for the people as a human. So therefore, when we try to motivate someone to do something, okay, you can base on these three aspects to analyze their wants or even their needs. And then you can take a look about the acquired needs theories in details. So therefore, it will be really interesting that, okay, to know or give you some insight. How can you motivate your team members? So apart from the input-based, we also have the process-based motivation. That means during the process, we can also, okay, explain or even enhance the motivation, including the equity theory, expectancy theory, goal-setting theory, and also the self-efficacy theory. So for the equity theory, so we can see, so that is how we will try to, most likely as a human, we will compare with others. But how can we compare? So if you get a job, okay, maybe your student, your classmate get a great job, okay, monthly salary is 50K, 50,000. So when you compare with him, okay, her, so maybe will you feel sad? Maybe you just get 20K, okay, like me, okay, 20,000 Hong Kong dollars. Maybe you will feel a bit sad, okay, because we learn the same thing, but they can get more output, okay, get a higher, better job. But when you go deep, okay, sometimes you will know, when you ask them, the student, your classmate will tell you that, oh, I need to work for 18 hours per day to get this 50,000 Hong Kong dollars per month. But for me, okay, if I get 20,000 Hong Kong dollars per month, I only need to work for 8 hours a day. So therefore, for this difference, when we try to compare different things, apply the equity theories, we are not just compare the output, we are going to compare the ratio between the output and input. So then most likely after your comparison, you will turn it back, okay? You will know whether you want to, okay, eliminate the inequity in your life. So that is also one thing. Second is about the expectancy theory. So that means that the motivation flow force can be explained by the expectancy, instrumentality, and balance. And then the EIV, they are multiplied together. So as during the lecture, I explained that. What does it mean? So the motivational force, the final answer is highly sensitive to either one of this. They are not add together. If they add together, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So if the value of V changed to 0.5, from 3 to 2.5. But if you multiply together, 1 times 1 times 1, it will be 1. If we change 1 to 0.5, it will be 0.5. It will be decreased by 50%. So therefore, the motivational force is highly sensitive to either one of these aspects. Okay, so you need to understand about this scenario. Okay, and then we also have the goal setting theory to understand about the goal, how can we set this. Okay, there are so many things. Okay, like the clarity, make it clarity, and a little bit complex, challenging. And then you also need to have the commitment and provide the feedback to them. So then we also have the self-efficacy. So that means, so when we try to design a task, of course, it should be a little bit challenging, but it doesn't mean that they cannot do it, okay? It should be still let the employees or let the workers or let the team members feel that they are capable of doing this. So otherwise, it will be difficult to motivate them, okay? So therefore, that is the self-efficacy theory. So we need to make them to have the belief. Of course, they don't know whether, we never don't know, okay, whether you cannot do it, they cannot do it. But we need to make him or her has a belief that they can do it, okay? Then that will be the important things, okay? Self-efficacy. So for the output-based, we also have the reinforcement theory, okay? So with the reinforcement theory, of course, we will try to provide some reward, okay? Try to provide some more hints. So let's go straight to this picture, okay? Because they all explain these comics, okay? In the reinforcement, okay, we have the positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment. positive punishment or negative punishment. Negative punishment can be also referred to the extension, okay, extension. So we have these 4 types, okay, to set the reward, okay, to try to motivate someone, okay. It depends on do you have the resources to give the reward. If you don't have that, we can also drive them to do, okay. So because for the positive reinforcement, we need to give them some gift, okay. Maybe you need to give them money, etc. But for some company, they don't have money to give. Then they can do like negative reinforcement, right? So maybe I cannot give money to you, okay, to treat you well. Then I can do what, okay? If you end the class earlier, then you can enjoy, okay, your life, enjoy your time. Then that can be the negative reinforcement for you. So that is about different things that we can do, okay, to set up so-called reward, okay, for the human, to drive the behavior. And surely we also have the job. When we understand all these things, okay, we also explain, okay, the overall job, okay, and when we need to design the job. We also have the job characteristic model to explain how can we so-called to achieve these 3 critical psychological states, okay, meaningfulness, okay, responsibility, and knowledge. And based on this one at the end, okay, when you can motivate them and prepare all of them, then we can get this 4 outcomes, positive outcomes: work motivation, satisfaction, job satisfaction, and also the effectiveness. So this chart is as the summary for the whole motivation. Okay, so we need to motivate, or we can motivate, okay, the employee through all these aspects, and then eventually we will achieve this. Okay, we will achieve this. So therefore, that is about the motivation. And of course, surely, we also try to explain this through the vertical loading, horizontal loading, so as to improve the job characteristics. So based on this model, job characteristic model, we also provide 2 loading to enhance the job characteristic. That is talking about the scope and also the job depth. That will be a hint for us to promote some employee, okay, or even you can select some good candidates in your business or in your company. So last but not least, in this lecture, we also explain some real things, okay, practical things happening in Hong Kong, like flexible working hour, compressed work weeks, okay, is that good? And also some job sharing, and also work from home policy, and also last thing it should be the part-time, okay? So we have the casual workers. So is that good for the organization? So we can also know about this, okay? So that is about the overall package for the whole company. So I believe that, okay, the previous topics that I explained to you, they are interesting and helpful for you, okay, to plan your career in your life, okay, to plan your career in your life. Then if you want to, okay, study hard, okay, for your final exam, remember, okay, you can study all the chapters, because some of this, okay, some of the parts, they will actually hybridized together based on some concepts. So therefore, okay, you can try to explore all the things, including, of course, the video, okay, the case, the video, about all the learnings that you have learned in the class. For the video, of course, you cannot take the student presentation, right, in the blackboard. So you have to go to the Zoom, and then to watch the recordings again. Then you can find the actual case for you to deepen your understanding on those principles. Okay? So these are some basic ideas for you, okay? And hope you can gain more. To sum up, okay? Of course, okay, maybe I use 1 or 2 more minutes. To sum up, that is about once again, that is the engineering management.